Before September 2005, Chen Zichong, the son of senior Kuomintang official Chen Lifu, traveled to China as a tourist. After catching a cold, he sought medical treatment and was told he had a liver tumor and needed a transplant. 10 days later, he died in Beijing. Renowned Taiwanese liver transplant Dr. Chen Yaoli and others were later found to have introduced 9 patients to China for organ transplants, earning 14.66 million new Taiwan dollars in referral fees. They were found guilty by the court, and the Ministry of Health and Welfare officially revoked their medical licenses, making them the first doctors in Taiwan to be penalized for brokering overseas organ transplants for patients. Hello everyone, this is Weiyu, Looking at the World. I'm Chen Weiyu. In yesterday's episode, I talked with everyone. I shared the story of a Taiwanese girl who personally recounted her experience in China. Her father was taken away by the police in Yunnan, China. By the time she received a call from the Public Security Bureau and saw her father's body, she discovered that his eyes, heart, liver, and kidneys had all been removed. As for her, she herself was also coerced and assaulted by 3 Chinese police officers. After this episode was released, many friends felt extremely angry and heartbroken, but there were also some who questioned whether the story was real. Actually, the reason I invited Dayu to talk about this matter was also to verify that it is true. Dayu has communicated with the girl multiple times, with the longest interview lasting 4 hours in great detail. Some people have asked, since the girl was clearly with 3 companions, why didn't she go out and ask for help? What I want to say is, this girl is a very rational person. In a very short amount of time, she was able to assess what would cost her the least and made her decision accordingly. If she hadn't done so, those 3 police officers would never have let her leave because they couldn't risk her going out to report them or letting anyone know they were extorting money. They had even already decided that, even after taking her money, they would still violate her. They targeted a Taiwanese girl, knowing that in China she couldn't do anything and was powerless to resist. Her only family, her father, had already been killed for his organs by them. Are these demons even afraid that the girl might resist? Please, everyone, do not underestimate the evil of these monsters. There was also a viewer who said, "Oh, I went on a solo trip to the mainland in April, and the people there were all pretty nice to me." He said, "I've never seen what you're talking about, so why should I believe you just because you say so? I'm not a fool." First of all, I want to say to this viewer, whether or not you go to China is your own choice. I'm just sharing the facts that I know. If you were lucky enough not to encounter anything like this, I quietly wish you well and hope you never have to experience it. But incidents like this are not isolated cases. Another viewer also wrote me an email and told me a shocking fact. As everyone knows, the high-ranking Kuomintang official Chen Lifu, along with his brother Chen Guofu, were both trusted aides of Chiang Kai-shek. Later on, they distanced themselves from politics and devoted themselves to the preservation and promotion of traditional Chinese medicine, establishing the Lifu Medical Research and Education Foundation. In this viewer's email, they told me that Chen Lifu's youngest son, Chen Zichong, traveled with his wife to mainland China in 2005 to trace his father's historical footsteps, visiting the places where his father had worked and lived, as well as reconnecting with his father's old friends and relatives. When Chen Zichong arrived in Beijing, he caught a bit of a cold, so he went to the China-Japan Friendship Hospital for treatment. The hospital told him to be admitted, saying that there was a severe flu outbreak outside and he shouldn't go out, and that it would only be for a few days. Then they told him, "Mr. Chen, your liver isn't in good condition. We'll have the Minister of Health, Wang Jifu, perform your surgery." So his family paid the surgical fee for Minister Wang Jifu. However, after the surgery, when they went to check the signature of the lead surgeon, it wasn't Wang Jifu. It turned out the operation was performed by a third-rate doctor. After the surgery, they told him that his liver had to be replaced. He was immediately transferred to the Beijing Armed Police General Hospital, and after waiting for a day, he received a liver transplant. But 10 days later, he passed away. When his family received the liver that had been removed, it turned out to be a perfectly healthy liver. I actually went out of my way to look up news from that year to verify this story. Sure enough, I found a 2005 press release on the website of Taiwan's Legislative Yuan, which was about the achievements of Chen Lifu's son. Chen Zicheng, the third son of former Kuomintang heavyweight Chen Lifu, established the Lifu Medical Research and Education Foundation to carry on his father's legacy. He frequently traveled between both sides of the Taiwan Strait and, for many years, dedicated himself to promoting the integration of Chinese and Western medicine. Although he had always been in good health, this September, while traveling in mainland China, he caught a cold and felt unwell, so he sought medical attention. Following the advice of local doctors and friends, he went to Beijing's China-Japan Friendship Hospital to have a liver tumor removed. Unfortunately, his condition worsened after the surgery, and even after an emergency liver transplant, he could not be saved. He passed away at the age of 64. Because Chen Zicheng's widow, Lin Yingzheng, insisted that his body must be brought back to Taiwan for burial and did not want her husband to be cremated locally in Beijing, with assistance from the mainland authorities, Chen Zicheng's body was flown from Beijing to Taipei via Hong Kong on October 31st. Lin Yingzheng said that after all the funeral arrangements are completed, she will seriously consider filing a lawsuit and other related matters. She hopes that the China-Japan Friendship Hospital will take the initiative to honestly disclose the details of the incident and sincerely apologize. In addition, an archived photo from the Liberty Times in 2007 also mentioned that Lin Yingzheng used her own painful experience as an example. Her husband, Chen Zicheng, was the son of Kuomintang heavyweight Chen Lifu. In August the year before last, he traveled to Beijing for sightseeing. Because he was feeling unwell, he went to the China-Japan Friendship Hospital in Beijing for a checkup. After undergoing liver tumor removal surgery at the hospital, he fell into a coma and never woke up. He was then transferred to the Armed Police General Hospital for a liver transplant. When the doctors opened up his abdominal cavity, they discovered that Chen Zicheng already had multiple broken ribs. Despite attempts to save him, he still passed away in Beijing. Lin Yingzheng questioned the standards, saying that the China-Japan Friendship Hospital is directly under the Ministry of Health and was also the designated hospital for the 2008 Olympics, yet its quality is still concerning, let alone hospitals of lower rank. Lin Yang once lamented that a country with such medical standards is blocking Taiwan from joining. The World Health Organization even boasts about taking care of the health of the Taiwanese people. What an irony. So, from these two reports, can we also confirm what happened to Chen Zicheng, the son of Chen Lifu, in Beijing? It's true. And according to this viewer's tip, the liver that Chen Zicheng's family received was perfectly fine. There was absolutely nothing wrong with it. So everyone can deduce that Chen Zicheng didn't have any liver disease, yet he was deceived into believing he had a liver tumor and was told he needed an immediate liver transplant surgery. And within just a day or two, a liver donor was found. So where did these donors come from? The descendant of a major Kuomintang figure and someone with deep ties to the medical field was actually tricked into undergoing surgery in China, which ultimately led to his death. Was his death the result of someone intentionally wanting to kill him, or was it just a scheme to scam him out of his money by making him get a liver transplant, which then led to his death because the medical technology wasn't advanced enough? What was the real reason? We still have no way of knowing. I want to ask those Taiwanese people who say nothing happens when you go to China. Do you have more connections than Chen Lifu? Even the descendants of top Kuomintang figures can't protect themselves. For those who keep saying how great China is and want to unify with the Communist Party, seriously, aren't you afraid? Also, in this case, Chen Zicheng's liver donor was found within just a day or two. So where do China's organs come from? In most countries around the world, the wait time for a donor is much longer. Usually it takes at least a year or two. Being able to get a donor organ in just a day or two is beyond supersonic speed. The CCP's use of organs from **** Academy fire victims and Uyghurs is already widely known. In 2005, those were the years when the persecution and live organ harvesting from ***s were at their peak. Although I do sympathize with Mr. Chen Zicheng's experience, you really can't go to China for an organ transplant, because behind all of that is an assembly line of killing people on demand. What happened to Mr. Chen Zicheng is a painful lesson. I think there are far more people who have suffered such painful lessons than just him. Today, I also want to talk about something else, the renowned Taiwanese liver transplant doctor Chen Yaoni and others who arranged for 9 patients to go to China for organ transplants through intermediaries. They received 14.66 million new Taiwan dollars in intermediary fees and were found guilty by the court. And what about the Ministry of Health and Welfare? Last week, they also revoked Chen Yaoli's medical license for violating Article 16 of the Human Organ Transplant Act, making her the first doctor in Taiwan to lose her license for illegally brokering human organ sales. It was shocking. Chen Yaoli will permanently lose her qualification to practice medicine. Of the 9 people Chen Yaoli referred to China for organ transplants, did you know? 5 of them received liver transplants. One person spent 14 million new Taiwan dollars, which is about 445,000 US dollars. After spending such a huge amount of money, that person died less than 2 weeks after the transplant surgery. Their experience was exactly the same as Mr. Chen Zicheng's. In addition, 3 more people passed away within 2 years, and the last one also died within 5 years after the surgery. So you see, people thought going to China for a transplant could extend their lives, but in the end, not only did their own lives not get extended, they also had to take someone else's life to get those transplants. Do you think it's worth it? Those doctors who refer people to China for transplants are even more lacking in conscience. They clearly know these organs come from illegitimate sources, taken from innocent people, yet for their own benefit, they completely abandon the last shred of morality. Since 2008, Chen Yaoli, together with the owner of a biotech company and others, illegally brokered multiple patients to go to mainland China for liver and kidney transplants, profiting 14.66 million new Taiwan dollars from it. What's worth noting is that this isn't the first time Chen Yaoli has been reported. As early as 2008, Chen Yaoli collaborated with a pharmaceutical sales representative surnamed Huang to send patients to Shenyang Third Hospital of Central South University in Hunan, China. They carried out a liver transplant, but because the patient died after the surgery, the Changhua County Health Bureau determined that this violated the Physician Act regarding unauthorized practice and breached medical ethics. However, the Changhua County Medical Disciplinary Committee actually decided not to impose any disciplinary action. With this, Chen Yaoli became even more brazen and continued down this path of no return. In June 2022, Changhua Christian Hospital suddenly issued a statement saying that Chen Yaoli had repeatedly traveled to mainland China to perform organ transplant surgeries and that her contract would not be renewed after the end of June. At the time, Chen Yaoli even insisted that it was all slander. Later, she transferred to work at Changhua Shoutuan Hospital and Taichung Chongshan Medical University Hospital, even serving as the deputy director at Chongshan. Someone who had already been found by the Health Bureau to have violated medical ethics not only didn't have her license revoked, but was still able to continue practicing as a deputy director. This in itself is a huge loophole and also highlights the problems within the entire medical regulatory system. There are still issues that need to be addressed. Huang Shuwei, the deputy director of the Taiwan International Care Association for Organ Transplants, commented on the matter regarding the lung scan. First, he said that the decision made by the review committee took a great deal of moral courage. Huang Qianfeng, his colleague and also a deputy director at the Taiwan International Care Association for Organ Transplants, issued an even more far-reaching warning. Huang Qianfeng stated that if someone tells you that you can quickly obtain an organ source in mainland China or even get a rapid organ match, that's a huge red flag. This shouldn't just be about individual doctors violating ethics and having their medical licenses revoked. We need to go further and consider how Taiwan can implement some institutional changes. This includes reporting on transplants performed overseas. It also involves changes in verification processes, hospital governance systems, coordination with the national health insurance, and regulations for high-risk regions. I think what he said really gets to the heart of the issue, because revoking Chen Yaoli's license alone can't solve the root problem. We can completely understand the anxiety and despair of patients in Taiwan waiting for liver or kidney transplants. But it's exactly this kind of desperation that some people take advantage of, turning it into a tool for huge profits and even becoming accomplices in the CCP's organ harvesting industry chain. Su Jinchuan, the chairman of the Liver Disease Prevention and Treatment Academic Foundation and a well-known hepatobiliary and gastroenterology specialist, said that Taiwan has long faced the dilemma of demand for liver transplants far exceeding supply. Many patients with chronic liver disease wait in vain for a suitable organ. About 20 or 30 years ago, quite a few patients actually went to China for liver transplant surgeries. Su Jin Chuan believes that instead of waiting until the illness worsens and end up needing a liver transplant, what's even more important is to focus on early detection and early treatment of the disease. He recommends that people get an abdominal ultrasound at least once a year to monitor their liver health early, reduce the risk of the disease worsening, and hopefully avoid reaching the point where an organ transplant is necessary. Zhu Jing was talking about prevention, but for those who have already reached the point where they need an organ transplant, what should they do? I think that's truly the most agonizing dilemma. All around the world, the average wait time for a matching organ is often several years. But in China, organs can be provided within just a few days. This speed simply can't be explained by any normal organ donation system. The documentary, State Organs, exposes the shocking differences in organ transplant wait times. In the United States and other countries with ethical systems, patients often have to wait several years to get a matching organ. But in China, hospitals can actually claim to complete a transplant within just a few days or weeks. This means that organs are being supplied on demand, which would be impossible without living victims. So, just how rampant is organ transplantation in China right now? Let me show you a video. This video captures a scene where someone filmed a fake ambulance harvesting organs from a living person right on the street. Just this year, investigative reports about the CCP's organ harvesting have been continuously exposed. In December 2025, the World Organization to Investigate the Persecution of Falun Gong published a report that debunked the CCP's lies about citizen organ donations. The report revealed the dark secrets behind Wuhan's organ transplant industry chain and the sources of organ donors from multiple perspectives. Years of recorded phone investigations show that major transplant centers in Wuhan perform a huge number of organ transplants, have very short waiting times, and use organs from **** institutions. In September 2025, the World Organization to Investigate the Persecution of Falun Gong published an investigative report exposing abnormal phenomena such as a surge in organ transplants from children and infants in China, an abundant supply of donors, and short waiting times. The report pointed out that since 1999, after Jiang Zemin launched the persecution of ****, a large number of **** practitioners have had their organs harvested while still alive, and at the same time, China's organ transplant industry experienced explosive growth, forming a massive nationwide industrial chain for live organ harvesting. Since 2017, organ transplants for children in China have advanced rapidly, with the number of pediatric liver transplants already far surpassing the United States, making China #1 in the world. They don't even spare children's organs. The level of evil in this industry chain has already gone far beyond what ordinary people can imagine. Once, a former Chinese military doctor named Zhang Ji, who had participated in the CCP's live organ harvesting, later came forward and publicly exposed all of this. Zhang Ji said that the speed at which live organ harvesting has spread in China has completely surpassed the imagination of all free countries. He pointed out that although foreigners enter China to obtain kidneys, livers, or other organs, in reality, it is clearly a case of paying money to hire someone to kill. He emphasized that live organ harvesting is killing on demand. It's precise. Whatever organ is needed, that's the one that's taken. This horror has already surpassed all forms of torture in human history. He said that many doctors carrying out these procedures in mainland China cry at night because they know this is an act of evil. Jen Yao Li having her license revoked, I think, is a milestone, but it's only the first step. I believe Taiwanese society also needs a more comprehensive system to close any loopholes that people might exploit. More importantly, every Taiwanese person, everyone who might one day need an organ transplant, should clearly understand that any place that can match you with an organ in just a day or two. Behind it is an assembly line of killing on demand. The organ you receive might have belonged to an innocent person who was still alive just yesterday. The continuation of one life should never be built on the involuntary sacrifice of another. I think that's the most basic moral bottom line. This incident, in my view, also serves as an important warning for the medical community. As a doctor, medical ethics are even more important than medical skills, because a surgeon's scalpel can be used to save lives or to take them. It all depends on the doctor's ethics.